Hey everybody, wanted to check my YouTube quota to see what I've used so far. Okay, this isn't too bad. I've used about half. This morning I was at 481 requests at about 8 o'clock, which makes perfect sense because it's one request every minute, and 8 o'clock means 480 minutes had passed. So I should have enough to last the rest of the day. I guess this is without sending messages though. Oh well. Anyway, hi everybody. So we're gonna get back to game dev. I don't think there's anything really standing in the way. Oh, did I update this? I think I did. Yes, I did. Cool. And am I online? Yep, I am. Cool. Yeah, so where are we at? Put instructions right in the game itself about the feedback. Yeah, I guess let's go pull up all the information. Man, I don't know what is wrong with my posture lately. So pre-launch tasks here. Consider adding feedback information directly into the game. Maybe link to something like idle.bot.land and put a Discord link. Then say something like, then include what I want feedback on. Hey, Atomic Man. And yeah, hi everybody. So where do we leave off? The ability system. Excuse me, pull cooldown data from the abilities themselves. Yeah, okay, so let's go take a look at that. Let's close out everything we have and go to active ability. So there should be a cooldown in here. And there isn't. So let's add one. Var cooldown float. And then I feel like there should be some start of battle thing. I have this set battle in here. Technically the cooldown should work even outside of battle though. But nothing would update this outside of battle. I could instead change this to a time when this will be ready. But that's... I think I should just make it so that these update outside of battle. Yeah, let's write that down. Make sure... Actually, no, that's just something we'll have to do for the eventual game. I don't think that's relevant for the prototype. Yeah, it's been fun making this. I've been pretty happy with it. Where do I even put this? Post prototype changes, yeah. I'll write this here. Make it so that abilities cool down while outside of combat. This could be sort of... This could be done quickly by just keeping track of how long the player... I'm not gonna write implementation details here. This is fine. Hey, Dak. What are your thoughts on the slices thing you go? What do you mean on the slices thing? Because I think Go is at least sensible in how it does slices. So I don't have any specific thoughts other than that, I generally approve of that, I suppose. All right, so what are we doing? Pull cooldowns from the ability. Yeah, so I feel like there should be some beginning of battle thing, but we don't really need it yet. And this could be called... Wait, where do resets come from? Oh, they come from the ability itself? I think I have this hard-coded somewhere as like 2.5. Yeah, here, get time until reset. Oh, this is turn reset though. Oh, the cooldowns are in battle window. Yeah, they're up here. They're hard-coded here. What are my words per minute? I haven't actually measured in a while for this, but with Colmac, I think I have some spreadsheet that shared some for some of the tests. Yeah, there's the spreadsheet. What languages am I most comfortable with? So far, I've heard you mention C# and now Go. Most comfortable with, it's just whatever language I'm using at the time, which of late has been TypeScript, GDScript, I guess some C#, although I wouldn't really say I've used a lot of that recently. And then before that, at Google, it was Java and Kotlin. And then before that, at Google, it was Go, and I guess some Python. And I don't know. Anyway, it changes for whatever it is I'm doing. All right.
According to Wikipedia,
Whoa,
Kotlin is a cross-platform.
Stop it. Every time I say Google, it thinks I'm talking to my phone, and it just thought I was asking about asking about Kotlin. So I want to put this in here, I think, the cooldown reset time. Cooldown reset. But this is technically not static. Yeah, I think it should just be a function. Func get cooldown reset. Is that what I call this? Ability cooldowns? How does this know what to reset itself to? Ability button dot cooldown reset? Oh, the button itself keeps track of what the starting thing was? Yeah, I see. AI Lord's listening. I mean, yeah. So get cooldown reset is going to return a float. And I guess, can we just write pass here? No, you can't. Return, I don't know what to even do here. Maybe just assert false. Oh, hey, cool. Yeah, that would work. Oh, we could just do this everywhere then. Cool. And then return 0, which will never get hit. Sounds good. Okay, so cooldowns being the abilities themselves. I guess let's go code them into each individual ability. Well, I don't know. I guess it should be in the init. So let's set this to, how about we just set them to whatever they were set to over here? Because these are just debug abilities anyway. This is 1.3 times, or 1.6 times 0.3. All right, let's put it in. Where is debug attack ability? Here it is. Okay, so we'll put this in here. We'll evaluate it first. So it's 0.48. The super class of this active ability is going to need to take in the, oh wait, we don't even have a thing here. Oh, well, then let's go add that. Sure, it'll be faster now. I probably am, yeah. Hi, cat. What's up? I was playing with her over break, but she wasn't really chasing the laser pointer. You having fun? I was sort of teaching her to be comfortable. Oh, never mind. Okay, well, goodbye. Just trying to teach her to be a lap cat. All right, so this is the ability constructor. We want something like this in active ability. Except for here, we'll also take in the cooldown. Cooldown val. All right, good. And then this should call into the superclass with ID val and name val, which I guess at that point could just get rid of the vals on here. There. Why is this yellow? Oh, you can't shadow them even from the superclass? Okay, that makes sense. Fine. I must have already realized that earlier. Okay, so debug attack 3. What did we say for that one? We said 3.2 times 0.3. These numbers don't matter. It's just, might as well just use the same ones anyway. And then this was for debug 2, which goes here. All right, are we looking good for that? I think so. So now the abilities themselves have cooldowns. And in order to check to see if it's on cooldown, we need to change what's going on over here, right? So the ability button should probably just know what ability they have. Is that what there is? Pull cooldown data from the abilities themselves. Okay, let's delete that and then just go fix all the errors. Ability cooldowns I. What is this? For ability ID and equipped abilities, for I in range 3, make 3 buttons. And then set the details based on the names. I guess we could just do this. This is going to be a little weird. Ability ID is this, and then the ability is this. So equipped. And then we use the ability here, ability dot cooldown. I'm going to change this a little bit eventually, but we're not doing that yet. Identifier is not declared. Yep, right. That's supposed to be an IDs. All right, now we looking good. Not declared in the current scope. What? Oh, because of this? It should be I. Does it even work? I don't know. Cannot assign a value. That I'm ignoring. And then what? Cooldown is not present on invert type ability. Yeah, this should be an active ability. Okay, I think we're looking good there. Even though it doesn't look like it looks good. Then here, we get the cooldown reset. This is not going to work because we need to know what ability you have there. Wait a second. This is resetting the abilities cooldown. Yeah. So we need to do ability dot. Do we have a reset cooldown thing in here? Reset cooldown. And then we just set cooldown equals get cooldown reset. This is probably fine. Yeah, it's at least fine for now. So call reset cooldown. All right. So now we get rid of this. And I guess we don't need the button anymore either. I'm going to just save that for now. Yeah. Also, equipping abilities. Do I have a thing for that? Character skill trees? Yeah. Need to make sure you can't equip the same skill multiple times, or it'll probably mess up. So this checks to see if you're off cooldown. So yeah, this is where having the ability from the button itself would be really helpful. I'm gonna write a quick function that does this. Ability index, yeah. So we'll say get ability by index. Index int active ability. All right, and then just return that ability. And then write a to do this function shouldn't exist. We should ideally have the abilities in the buttons themselves so that we have quick access for this, but we're not doing that yet. So now we scroll down to the next error that we had, which was this one, and we get the ability active ability equals get by index I, and then we just check the cooldown here. Ability dot cooldown is less than or equal to 0. Okay, what next? This is process abilities. Go through all of them and set the. Okay, well, for I in range 3, get the ability and do ability dot cooldown minus equal delta. Then set the cooldown based on that. All right. What is this doing here? What is this doing here? That shouldn't. Oh, I see. We need to go through each ability button and set whether the turn is ready. This should just be done for all of them at once. To do this for all buttons at once. And only when time until turn changes. All right, what next? What next? We're slowly making progress on this. Now go through each cooldown and see if any are less than 0. So I guess for I in range 3, get the ability, and if ability.cooldown is less than or equal to 0, then we're good. Otherwise, go through I equals 3 again. Get the buttons and then set whether it's ready. I don't think this should be even done here. And that's it. I think the code should work. Now let's find out that I messed something up, right? No, I mean, it looks fine. Get cooldown reset must be implemented. Why? What? Oh, right. Of course. All right. How do I want to do this then? I guess an ability should just get its reset set to whatever we passed in originally. Oh, man. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited am I? I guess 8 since I even skipped the co-working session. I'm pretty excited. It's definitely above a 6. So 7, 8, 9, or 10, I don't know. It's pretty hard to pick. Yeah. Yeah, probably like an 8 or 9. I don't know. All right, we have a couple ways of doing this. We could keep track of the initial cooldown value that we passed in here, but it doesn't really matter. Also, actually, I guess what we could do is we could just set this right here. Yeah. But this requires us to have a function for this. I don't know. I'm torn because I don't know how we're going to use this yet. I guess it doesn't matter how we're going to use it yet. It matters how we're going to use it now. And how we're going to use it now is just having a constant value. So I guess we should just set cooldown var cooldown reset float and just set that here, cooldown reset val. Yeah, so cooldown reset equals CRV. Why did that not find what I want? There we go. And then the cooldown is set to the cooldown reset. After moving to working on what you'd like to do. Wait, what? After moving to working on what you'd like to do, you feel like you're not socializing enough like you used to? I think you mean like at a traditional job versus this. So at Google, I was remote the whole time. It just my stupid phone. Stop it. I'm not talking to you. Remote the whole time. And I think that has the biggest impact on how social I was. And also half of the job was during the pandemic. So everyone was a little less social during that time. So since then, it's like, I guess I'm still working from exactly the same position, right? I'm in the same chair, I'm at the same desk, but I'm talking to people more frequently. So from a work perspective, I sometimes feel like I'm actually more social than I was before. And then as far as outside of work, that's the same level of socialness, I guess. Also, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I guess to some extent, I might actually have like the same number of one-on-ones as I did at Google because now I'm doing mentoring and interviews. And this week, for example, was 2 hours of mentoring. And last week was 1 hour of interviewing. And next week is going to be an hour of interviewing. And then the week after that will be an hour of mentoring again. So it's like every week I still have some one-on-one time. You know, like after a few months. Yeah, okay. So I do think this could be a tough transition for people now that we're post-pandemic. So I think when everyone was working from home, it was totally different. And even if you might not have originally been fine, you might have been fine during the pandemic. But yeah, now I think some people just need those touch points. And especially if you're a developer or something like that, where you're more isolated than not, like developer versus, let's say, like a salesperson. A salesperson is probably going to have more meetings than the average developer. And so the average developer might have like a few hours per week. And that's just not necessarily enough to feel like you're socializing with people. So we're going to delete this. We're going to set this to cooldown reset. It should know that I want that. Yeah. And then, yeah, I think we look good there. So now we can just run this. Yeah, it looks like it's working. Yeah, cool. So it looks like we've got cooldowns pulled from the abilities themselves. Make sure enemies are respecting cooldowns. Test this by making debug 3 do no damage, and then give debug 1 a very long cooldown. And make sure enemies use it as soon as the cooldown is up. This is harder to do. Let me also reload this so I don't have red all over my project. Anyway, if you don't like working from home, I think there are a couple things you can do. One, obviously, is try to find a job where you work from the office. But two is try to see if anyone else wants to have like a social touch point. Because some people are totally fine. You know, if you put a half-hour meeting on their calendar or something and you just said, hey, I just want to chat, they might be fine with that. I had that with some people. And then you could do some group events too. Maybe you play a game together. Maybe you're just sitting around chatting. Especially doing that over lunchtime could be good. It's at least a good way to test the waters with people. Because if they don't want to meet over lunchtime, they're probably not going to want to meet in the middle of their day. That's not entirely true. Hey, Casey. All right, so enemies need to respect cooldowns. So let's go find out where that's happening. Use ability. Yeah, so this is only for enemy ability. No, this isn't even enemies. This is only for NPCs. You can have an NPC as well. And so ability.use should reset its cooldown itself, I guess. Is that something I could do? It's something I could kind of do. But let's just go into active ability and make a reset cooldown. Oh, there already is one. Shows how much I'm paying attention to code I wrote like 5 minutes ago. All right, so ability.reset cooldown. There we go. And now there's no check to see if they can use the ability. Oh, wait. Yes, it is right there. Oh, but I said this doesn't actually work, right? To do. Check to see if the ability is usable. Yeah. All right. So we need to get all of your usable abilities. Usable abilities. Oh, didn't I already do code like this? Usable. How did I determine this for the player? Yeah, here it is. Has usable ability. Get ability by index. Okay, so func get usable abilities, and we pass in a, oh yeah, sure, I guess this. Wow, look at this code. Is this correct? Usable abilities is an empty array. Get the character data, get their known abilities, get their equipped abilities, go through each equipped ability, get the ability corresponding to it. If it's less than or equal to 0, append it, and wow, yeah, that's exactly what I want. Okay. So now all we need to do is put this here, get usable abilities on the player primary character, and then we can delete all this. Wow, neat. Do you have the GitHub project page in publicly accessible form? Unfortunately, no. So I can kind of tell you quickly what I've done. Actually, maybe it's easier to show you. Well, I'll show you when I'm done with all these errors, I guess. But the things we got done this week are all of these tasks. I don't remember when you last saw this. So what we started with was the title screen and the character select screen. That was Monday. It was really basic, and now we've been skipping it every day since. Then the world map, you've probably seen that. Then we got battles working, and then battles actually like kind of properly working. Damage is dealt and life is taken, and the battle can end. And then we've just started working on the ability system today. And I'll show you that, like I said, once I get through these errors. So we have get usable abilities. So now we're going to take this and we're just going to say, oh, wow, that's pretty good. Very impressive sometimes. And then we just pick a random one of these. Return this dot pick random. Done. Oh yeah, and then if there are none of these, so this needs to check for if there are none. Oh, we already do that. Wow, this should just work. Okay, let's try it. It's wonderful when you see code coming together. Okay, so we get into a battle. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, Casey, but we can now pick abilities, and these are properly populated from abilities that we have. They're all called debug. And so we can pick whether we want to attack 1, 2, or 3. I mean, clearly 3 is the best, but they're just debug abilities. So I click 3 and I attack 3 different things, And you can also queue them by clicking it before your turn is ready, and it'll just use it when your turn is ready. Now, it does not look like enemies are attacking me at all. I have taken no damage so far. So this is a problem, and I see 318 errors. I suspect this has something to do with this. Get usable abilities is broken then? How is that possible? Known abilities, equipped abilities, go through each ID and equipped. Get the known ability that corresponds to it, and if it's less than, yeah, what? This looks fine to me. So what's it saying? Can't take value from empty array. Line 194 here. Pick random. Oh yeah, sure, of course. But if usable abilities dot size equals 0, return null. Otherwise, return pick random. All right, that'll fix that problem. But why aren't they attacking me? No errors now, but they're still not attacking me. Okay, let's debug this. You think it's secretly listening? It might be. All right, so we'll put a breakpoint here. And I'll just refresh this. Okay, I mean, I'm not really, doesn't matter if I watch this or not. Don't care about that. All right, so it breaks in. Our battle character should be just an enemy, random enemy, right? Yeah, his player is false. And let's step into this function and see, is it returning anything? I'm guessing no. No, it's an array of 0. So that means get usable abilities is failing. So let's put a breakpoint there. So what is going on here? It's probably the AI that messed something up. I'm definitely blaming AI for this. Known abilities is a dictionary with x equals 0 and y equals 0. That doesn't seem right. What? Yeah, I don't even understand what that's about. Equipped abilities has one thing in it. And then go through each equipped one. We get an ability. This should be the debug thing. It presumably is, but you can't actually tell. And then if the cooldown is less than or equal to 0. Oh, we're never setting cooldowns lower. Oh, yeah, right, of course. Okay. So we need to update enemies as well. And we do this in process abilities, I guess. These are your abilities. Oh, we gotta change. Oh, darn it. All right. So here's the problem. The player has its own abilities, but we're only updating the cooldowns for them, and we're doing that right here. We need to update the cooldowns for all characters and then only do this for the buttons. So I'll just write to do, change this to pull from the ability data and not have cooldowns in the buttons themselves. Yeah. You blame Darkstorm. Darkstorm isn't even working on this code base. All right, I also blame Darkstorm. Wow, that does feel better. All right, cool. So we got to do this for everybody. So skip this part. Actually, that's it. That's all we skip. Wow, that was easy. Okay, so now battle characters. We want to go through every equipped ability that they have. Oh, this sucks. I probably need a better way of doing this, of getting their abilities, or get ability by index or something. I should probably write those functions. I'm sorry, Darkstorm. Even getting called out as a joke is probably not fun. Yeah, I definitely want a way to just get their equipped abilities and not their equipped ability IDs. We should probably change that. Equipped abilities to do rename to equipped abilities IDs or equipped ability IDs. Something like that. Then make a function for getting an equipped ability by index or ID or something. Because it's ludicrous right now. So we got to copy like all of this stuff. And then I got to figure out where I even last modified this file. here. So we go through their equipped abilities, we get their ability, we set the cooldown to just be minus equal delta. And that's that. Yeah. Okay, now I think it'll work. Please work, please work. Hey, it worked. Okay, so now when I attack, wait, no, never mind. I haven't updated something. Hang on. Also, what was that? Parameter delta is never used? Oh, so it is not. Yeah, this whole function should be changed. Been a productive day? Yeah, it's been very productive. Also, welcome in. So here's what we change. We're going to change this to be a very, very long cooldown. So like 15 seconds. And then the enemies now won't attack until 15 seconds have passed in the battle. Oh, that should not still be updating. That's no good. Yeah. Now they're going to attack me in this next turn. Oh, they already did. Yeah, something's broken here. Process characters should not be done if we're paused. Oh, I got rid of the pause logic? Are you kidding me? What was I thinking? If is paused, return. Okay, I think that should fix it. So now this should stop advancing. Good. Okay, so I attack. The enemies don't do any damage to me. And they will continue to not do damage to me until this bar fills up over here. Because this represents their cooldown as well. Okay, there. They just did some damage to me. And now I can use that debug attack. And they can't do anything. Those fools. Why is this green? This shouldn't be green. Probably need to do something about that. I'll just paste this into an issue for right now. I'm going to be like, wow, the game looked like that a while ago. Hey, Noodles. Just put this in cleanup stuff. Edit. So the first ability probably shouldn't be green in this screenshot since it's still on cooldown. All right, does that look good? Yeah. There's supposed to be two U's, one in battle and one on green. Yeah. This one in the background, you mean? That is supposed to be there. That's my character on the overworld. Is this really your first time using GDScript? No, I've used it in 2020. Oh, first time. Sorry. The order of your words is pretty important. It's the first time really using it. I would say I'm using it to the same level I was using it back in 2020. Because back then I was learning it, and this time around I'm prototyping with it. So I think once I'm like legitimately using it someday, then that'll be my first time really using it. But I don't think that day will ever happen. I think I'll probably end up coding this in C# once we get to the real game. And thanks, Noodles. Yeah, I've got the keyboard command. It'll take up to 15 seconds to respond. The tabs instead of brackets thing doesn't really bug me. I don't mind that. I mind a bunch of small things, I suppose. Lack of generics is annoying. I don't like that. I don't like the issue with Godot where I have to like reload the window all the time. All right, I think we got this working. So make sure enemies are respecting cooldowns. Test this by doing this stuff. Yep. Now probably give an ability button an instance of an ability, and it can manage the cooldown itself. So it shouldn't manage the cooldown itself. That part's not going to happen anymore. But I feel like it should have the ability, because right now, what are they doing? They've got things for like update. They've got set cooldown. Well, I guess if we're not going to call set cooldown, we would need a process in here, excuse me. I like GD script, but that may be Stockholm syndrome at this point. I think as long as you're using the types that are available, that it's probably fine. But like back in the day, there was even less typing support. Is it easy to type in this keyboard? Not at first, no. Or at least not for more than English. If you're typing English on almost any surface that has keys laid out sort of like what you're used to, then it's mostly fine. But then as soon as you get to other keys, like, you know, arrow keys or number keys or something like that, or symbols, those are a lot harder because you can't tell where they are just by looking at your keyboard. Unless you, printed out like 6 different symbols on each keycap. All right, ability button should have an instance of an ability. Yeah, I feel like we should probably check in soon so I don't mess things up and then not know how to revert. I'm going to just put this at the bottom of the scratch pad. So I learned Colmac just for this keyboard? Yeah. This may not matter. This was stuff in active ability that I don't think I'm going to care about. Yeah, I think we should check in. I think it's been too long since I've checked in. Is finished. Whether the battle is over. All right, so we got a bunch of garbage code here. What are we doing here? We're getting the abilities based on their equipped abilities. We do this all over the place. And this should definitely be done in a smarter way. Known abilities, ability ID. Yeah, so character data should expose something like get ability. Okay, that's easy. But then maybe get all 3 abilities, get equipped abilities. I actually wanted to be like this. And now do the rest for me. Thank you. All right, equipped abilities, I guess, aren't always active abilities. So get all the abilities. What am I doing here? Wait a second, aren't these just the values of... No, they're not. Never mind. I should probably just store this in an array so you don't need to keep fetching these. In fact, why did I even do this way? Oh, I see. So that way there's only one source of truth. What you have in known abilities. Yeah, I think this makes sense. All right, well, for ability ID and equipped abilities that depend known abilities, and then return abilities. Yeah, sounds good. Hey, mods or janitors. Thanks for resubbing. Not adventurous enough to try a split keyboard yet, but I do want to find one I can program. I'd like a layer to change into to use WASD as arrow keys. Yeah, that is quite a game changer. You can technically use some OS level programming for that. There's apparently some things called K-monad and something else. But anyway, this could potentially do what you want it to do without even needing a special keyboard. Yeah. Yeah, Monster Janitors, thanks for resubbing. All right, so this is how you get your equipped abilities. Now, what are we doing over here? Set up ability buttons. We're getting your equipped ability IDs so that we can go through them and get the names of all of them. So we could change this to look sort of like this. Var abilities. Technically, this is... Ooh, wait a second. Okay, so we're only saying these are active abilities, I guess? Yeah, I think once we have passives, I'll need to do this differently. Would you say hack is your favorite font? I don't know. I like it. I don't know if I have a favorite font. I think it is. Yeah, probably. Also, Hey Goose. Yeah. Yeah, I think I want to change this to... Ooh, it just did that thing again. Okay. Yeah, so I guess I haven't fixed it with whatever I had earlier. So I want this to be active abilities, and I guess this is only going to be for active ones. Note, this is only for active abilities that are equipped. Hey, Tyrion. This might bite me in the future, but maybe it won't. All right, so primary character data dot get equipped abilities. Cool. So that's our ability list. Now we go through each of those and we append the name for ability in there, append name. Good. And then also we get a button and we do what? We don't need this anymore. And this just comes from equipped abilities. But it's not an ID now, it's this. And then we delete this stuff. Does this work? I hope this works. Yeah, it worked. Most inactive and quiet mod. I think there are more inactive mods. It's like the fact that in hack, lowercase i's, l's, and t's are curly. Abilities, utilities. Huh. I don't know if that bugs me at all. I don't know if anything about this font bugs me. Yeah. Curly at the bottom. Yeah, the zeros are pretty nice. Very distinct. Okay, let's keep looking through this code. I just fixed up one function. And look, there's another function. Oh boy. All right, what are we doing here? So the ability is just kind of automatically set here, and we don't do anything with the buttons. The buttons happen here that we say unqueue all of them. Yeah. So what are we doing for this? We're getting all of the ability IDs, and oh no, we're just getting the one. Oh wait, I have a function now for this, right? Character data or whatever. Oh, but I'm getting it by index. Oh, that's stupid. No, let's get it by ID. Ability ID. Does an ability even know its ID? What do you have here? You have ability index. Replace this once we have proper abilities. Oh, okay. Well, then fine. Let's replace it. So ability ID. Did I call it this? What did I call this? What did I call this? Oh no, I don't remember. Ability IDs with a lowercase. Okay, yeah. All right, now where do we set this? Ability ID val. That's not an int anymore. It's a constants.ability IDs. And anywhere else the index is used? No, but how is that possible? Wouldn't I have to omit a queued ability thing? What? 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 Oh, I guess all the other ones get unqueued? I see. All right, there's some weird stuff going on in here that I'm almost certainly going to want to fix at some point. All right, so now we get the ability ID, and that happens to be a constants.ability IDs. And then from here, we could just say to get your ability by the ID. Get, what are you called? You're called get ability. And this is your active ability. Yeah, so now we delete all this stuff. Method get is not present. Oh, and this isn't an ability ID anymore. It's or an index, it's an ID. Okay. Want your eyes to suffer? Is your cursor like 2 pixels big? Or your mouse pointer, I mean? I think this is working. Yeah, looks like it's working. Cool. We're getting there. Yeah, the only time I really use a different font is for the terminal. And the reason why I use it here is because I have these symbols and they're only available in whatever font this is. But otherwise, I would like to use hack. Ship it. I'll be shipping it soon enough, actually. If we make enough progress this week and next week, I could potentially get this out at the end of next week. I don't think that's a good idea. I think we should wait a little bit longer and just make sure there's some amount of polish to the prototype, but not a lot. The main goal is just, do people have enough in front of them to be able to see, is this game fun? At what point would I consider to be finished? I want there to be enough systems that represent what the game actually is. And so we're working on the ability system. We definitely need skill trees. Those are like absolutely crucial to have. You definitely can't argue that this game could be testable without that. Multiple characters, pretty important because the whole game's about automation, so you should have multiple characters there. The player-wide skill tree is questionable. I think it's a good idea, but maybe it's not. And yeah, consider whether this is even worth doing for the prototype. It may not be needed. 3 to 4 years. So here's my biggest thing I want to test. How do people feel about maybe like 1 to 2 hours into the game? And I don't even know if we'll have enough content to be able to answer that question. Hey, Spearman. So let's say this game is fun when people download it. You know, you're playing, you pick your character, you got battles, you're like, you know, you're clicking attack here and you're like, cool, I get what's going on. You're automating your character. That might be fun for half an hour or an hour. And then, yeah, what happens when the battles are automatically playing themselves out? So imagine I'm not even clicking anything and this is what's happening. And you're like, okay, it's less fun than it was originally, maybe. And if you're making interesting choices, it could still be fun for that. Generate world, generate spawns. Well, maybe that's what we have to do. Really, like maybe we have to add in some content. But I think adding in new enemies and new regions and whatever, that's easy. The harder part is going to be adding in abilities. Check out the sprites command. That's where I have the artwork. That was supposed to have done it for you. I don't know what's going on with that. I probably broke something in my bot. I should probably look into that. Did I already write this down? Yeah, it's not a quota thing. Maybe a problem in my bot or the wrong password or something. Yeah, hip hop, thanks for resubbing. It's not a quota problem. I just checked at lunchtime. I was at almost exactly 50%. Is it a good enough gauge to keep going and then do another test further down the road to see if it's still worth pursuing? So I think these gauges serve as bailout times. So let's say this first prototype isn't fun and we can't make it fun. Then cool, we just save ourselves like 6 months. Let's say the game is going to take 6 months to make. And I don't know how long it's going to take. And I think 6 months is actually kind of long for this kind of game. But let's say it's going to take 6 months. Then doing a test at the 3-month mark could still be worth it. Because then you might save yourself 3 months. But the testing you do at like the 5-month mark is for much smaller things in scope. And at that point, you're almost certainly going to release the game anyway, because you already went through a couple of these passes. Fast noise light thing. Interesting. I haven't heard of that. I think you need to make the player have a specific goal and not just an infinite combat simulation. Well, the full game will have a specific goal, which is like kill all the bosses. And then that's it. You win the game. For the prototype, I feel like there should probably be one boss. And when you kill that, you win. And the boss, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything too crazy, right? We just reuse the entire battle system and we just say, like, this is a boss. And that's that. Excuse me. Pre-launch tasks. This is not stuff I want to do yet. Remaining gameplay tasks. What is it? Cleanup stuff. I guess it is a pre-launch task. Yeah. Consider giving the player a set goal in the game, e.g., see if you can beat the one boss in this game. Make the boss like a reasonable challenge. Yeah. I think the next test could test more about whether it has enough content to be fun for a while. Yeah, that's true. But okay, here's the other issue. Right now, we're like speeding through all this, right? And so I'm just throwing systems together and trying to get enough. And for the first prototype, that's great. That's all we really want. If we decide to develop this game, then we might spend a lot of time working on all these systems. Like maybe we spend 3 days on the title screen, for example. And now the title screen looks great, but it's not going to actually help us figure out, do people like having more content in the game? So I would need to probably prioritize my development around what we want to eventually test, which is doable and probably a smart idea anyway. But yeah, I just got to be careful about that because it might mean like partially implementing systems so that we can figure out like, okay, if there's more content, would that be all it takes? The other thing we could do is maybe, I don't know. Anyway, we'll figure this out. Am I going to have beta testing? Probably. So here's what we're doing right now. We're prototyping very rapidly. And so I'm cutting lots of corners. I've got generally like sloppy code in a lot of places. And the whole point is so that maybe in about a week or so, we can put this online and get feedback on whether it seems fun. If enough people like it, we would pursue the whole game. So when I consider a beta, I don't consider that it's right after your very first prototype. I consider it more like, okay, we got enough going on in the game. You know, maybe some things aren't totally finished, but like clearly all of the systems are there. We just need some more content or some more polish. That would be more at like the 4-month mark or 5-month mark or something. And at that point, I don't know if we would have one. If anything, it would probably be a closed beta for subscribers or something. Maybe add some simple stats to the screen like damage per second, etc. That would give people something to maximize, a community leaderboard. Okay, so something like DPS on your screen, yeah, I could see adding that. A community leaderboard, I just don't think is worth it for a prototype here. Because the amount it would cost to do that, like even if I were hackily throwing it together, is just a little too much. Plus, there wouldn't be any sort of like anti-cheat there. So, you know, you could just say you obtain 9,000 DPS and it had to be trusted. There's no way to go about doing that. Okay, so we have get ability by index. And I said this shouldn't exist. The button should have the abilities themselves, but I guess we're keeping that there for now. And what does this do? This gets your known abilities, equipped abilities, gets the first. All right, we can change this function a little bit, I guess. Get ability by index. Get ability by index. So we don't need this. We just need to get the ability ID, and then the ability itself can come from the primary character data.get ability. There. So now known abilities shouldn't be used anywhere. Yeah. And we can just return this. Yeah. Closed beta for people with points. Yeah. Could there be Twitch rewards if people stream it? Darkstorm suggested this idea, and I don't know. Right now, there aren't enough systems in place for there to be something that makes sense to have as a reward. Like, the only thing you're really earning in the game right now is just experience points. And that's probably all it'll be for the prototype. So the only reward could be more experience. And if you think about it, that's not really like, you're kind of cutting out parts of the game by doing that, I'd say. Like imagine if you were playing a game like Pokemon and I'm like, oh, I'll just give you a level 50 Pokemon or something. You'd be like, oh, okay, I guess I can just like breeze through the beginning of the game now. So if there were things to give rewards for, I think that could make sense. I just don't necessarily think there is yet. Other people stream it and link their Twitch accounts for in-game rewards. Yeah. I think these are ways to potentially help your game spread a little bit, but I think the relationship between Twitch and new games is very different from what it used to be. Like Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 or whatever it's called, Rebirth or something, just came out. And now the number of viewers in the category is already pretty low. So it's like, should I spend the time working on that for... Actually, let me take a look at this. Twitch Final Fantasy Rebirth. I want to see really fast how many people are streaming this right now. Okay, it's got 6,000 viewers right now. And I don't want to look at any spoilers, so I'm not actually looking at the category. But so that's actually more than I thought. But the amount of people who would stream this game is probably going to be pretty minimal. Also, it's a single player game. So I just think there's like less reason to stream it. All right. Let's finish looking through this. I just want to commit this stuff and want to make sure there aren't any, horrible coding sins in here. Just slight coding sins. Coding acts of aggression. Change this to pull from the ability data and not have cooldowns. That's process abilities. That's got to go down here. Yeah. So force usability set to false. I'm going to set this back to true maybe. Yeah. Okay. Rest of this looks good. Ability, get ability by index. This, yep, I wrote this shouldn't exist. So cool. I think we're fine. Now what is this? Known ability is equipped ability. Go through each ability ID. And sets cooldown. Yeah. So this can be made a lot easier now. Process characters. Because we now have in character data a get equipped abilities thing. Var abilities. Your character data, get all of those. Yep. Then go through each one and set his cooldown. Cool. Who am I trying to reach? You get better exposure on Twitch, no, or any streaming platform. So I want to be clear here. There are probably two things we're talking about, and we're making it sound like it's one thing. There's the prototype, and then there's like the final game. All I'm concerned with right now is the prototype. And for the prototype, all I really care about is like whoever's watching right now, essentially. Some people on Discord, maybe do a very small amount of outreach. But that's it. I'm not trying to reach, 10,000 people with this or get wish lists on Steam. There won't even be a Steam game. And then if this turns out to be fun, then we'll start pivoting toward the final game. And for that, it really comes down to just a whole bunch of prioritization. I don't want to spend like even a year on this game. I for sure want it to be less than a year, and I'm thinking like 6 months max. So we spend time working toward the important things. We eventually do add polish. We make sure all the systems make sense. There's enough content, and then we get ready to launch. And not, spend 2 years working on a game. So any feature where it's like, okay, get this to be more appealing to Twitch streamers or something, it's like that might take a week of development time or 2 weeks of development time. And on a 6 month schedule, that's just not, it's a big portion of that time. Does it take away from the game's experience because external factors which are not gamified would get involved in the game? I think it all depends on how it's implemented. And since this isn't really a consideration right now, we should probably just table the discussion. Check out KMonad. Bum my keyboard doesn't support layers. Yeah. Yeah, and if that doesn't work, Casey, there's some other software I can try to look up whose name I know is in a YouTube comment somewhere. And I could just go find that for you. You should make one of those simulator games for money. Game Dev Simulator would be cool. Doesn't Game Dev Simulator exist? Didn't Jonas Havgard work on that years ago? This game is going to be sold for money if I end up making it. All right, where did we leave off here? Take turn, ability. Pick random usable ability. Get usable abilities. Yeah, here we go. So we need to get all of your abilities and then see if they're on cooldown or not. So get usable abilities needs to be modified, and then that's it. Then we're done with this file. Yes. So get usable abilities. Now I gotta take a break. So abilities, array of active abilities, battle character, character data. Got it. Delete, 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 delete. There. Are we good now? Oh, whoops. I deleted one too far. I meant to keep that one. There we go. Yeah. Tried your hand coding a few years ago in college, got completely lost doing JavaScript. It might be worth giving it another shot and maybe using something that's strongly typed, so not JavaScript. But yeah, we're following a tutorial or something. All right, we're good now, right? Why? Oh, I was like, why is this automatically attacking? Can I choose this to? No, I can't. Okay, so if we are automatically attacking, I should probably cut that out at some point. What would I recommend? I guess it depends on what you want to do. I'd probably say something like, I don't know, Java or C# or I don't know, what other languages, someone who's starting out. It all depends on what you're using though. Like if you were going to code something in Unity, I'd be like, yep, C# for sure. If you're just going to mess around with like little utilities or applications, I mean, could be any number of languages, just anything that is not dynamically typed like JavaScript. Because I think it makes it a little harder to understand what's going on and find bugs in your code. And I think those bugs will bite you more as a junior developer. Casey, I don't know about that. I didn't know there was a streamer simulator. Yeah, Python could be fine. Okay, I'm going to take a break. Did we get done with whatever it was I was working on? I just want to make sure I know where I left off. Oh, we were checking in. Okay, yeah, that's right. All right, so let's just write this here. Commit. All right, I will be back in a little bit. Is it jump time? This thing hates me. Break, break, break. It's jump time. feel the need to tell everyone every once in a while, if you're ever, hang on one sec, close the game. So if you ever can't use, like, let's say you're trying to jump up many times in a row, Twitch will block you from doing this. So just append any random garbage to the end of this, and it'll let you type the message again, and it'll be fine. So you can use this for even, jumping, do like J45A or B or V or whatever. What are the commands? The commands are just join to join the game, and then J and a number to jump. And so positive numbers are to the right, and negative numbers are to the left. And that's it. So like J45 is an up and to the right, and J negative 45 is up and to the left. Did we actually merge the unstuck code? I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Add unstuck logic, yeah. Okay, so we looked over that. This should be changed at some point. Yeah, a lot of this is pretty stupid. This shouldn't be done here, but I'll worry about that at some other point. Constants, we added ability IDs. This, I'm not going to check in. This, we got rid of our slime army. I guess I'll just leave it there for now. Or maybe just not check this in either. Yeah, we'll just not check that in. Ability exists. Get tooltip isn't even used. That's fine. Active ability exists. That's fine, fine. Yeah, cool. Okay, this commit is pretty much good. We want to not check in these two things, I think. Is that correct? Yep, and yep. All right, so now let's go see what did this do. We added in proper ability classes and we pull the cooldowns from there. Yeah, so added proper abilities. There are only active abilities right now. The cooldowns are indeed being pulled from the abilities themselves. Commit. Was that my Pomodoro break? No, I don't do the Pomodoro system. I generally work for about an hour and then take about a 5-minute break. Yeah, I don't know if the unstuck code is just not working or something. I don't do that. I don't do jump royale development anymore. I'm an idle Ascendants kind of person. Probably give an ability button an instance of an ability and it can manage the cooldown itself. Cooldowns persist. Oh, wait a second. Something I just thought was kind of interesting is cooldowns might automatically persist and just not count down outside of a battle, which is not what I want, I guess. The Pomodoro system is I mean, Pomodoro just means tomato, but the system itself is like X minutes of work followed by Y minutes of break, and then some number of repeats, and then usually like Y is multiplied by 2 or 3 for one of those, and then you repeat the whole thing. So it's typically something like 25 minutes on, 5 minutes off, and repeat that a couple times, and then do like 25 minutes on and then 30 minutes off or something, So let's go fix what these things are. This function shouldn't exist. It's called from over here. Can I also just reload this? So we go through each button and try to do what exactly? If it's queued or if... I guess in the case where this is all automated, I really should make the player funnel through the rest of the system. I'll make that change later. I'm gonna explain what I just meant by that. What are we doing here? We're going through the Oh, we need to check to see if this was queued. Okay. So what do ability buttons track now? They have an ability ID. They really should just have the ability, and the ability itself has the ID, right? Yeah. All right, let's just do that and see what happens. What's the difference if you use Unreal Game Engine? So, I mean, think about it like, what's the difference between if you use Windows and Mac? They're both operating systems, but they have different takes on things. So it's kind of the same with game engines. They're both game engines if you use Godot or Unreal or Unity, but they have different takes on things, and they might be optimized for certain things. So it's like Linux is usually a little bit more steered toward developers than sort of the everyday person. And so Unreal in general, I think, is a lot of like, more graphics intense, kind of performance improvements kind of things that they focus on. And then I think they've got some pretty complex systems for things like, I don't know, water simulations and networking. We'll call this ability val, and we'll just delete the ID from both of these. And I guess same thing with this too, and just call this an ability. The buttons are always going to be active abilities now that I think about it, so let's delete this too. Okay, so what do we even use this for? We don't. And we're going to need to. Ability button. There's get node. There's got to be something where we set... Something should just be highlighted red here. And the fact that it isn't is concerning to me. Yeah, because like this can't work anymore. This has to be the ability. Oh, and then we have ability names I. That's not needed anymore either. Or nor is the cooldown. Yeah, what am I doing? None of this stuff is needed. Name val, cooldown reset val. So this is just going to be ability.name. Cooldown reset isn't needed. Yeah. Darth Maul, please do try to pay attention to not segmenting in chat. So just try to send larger but fewer messages. How many lines of code a game actually takes? So Botland, for example, was probably, it was somewhere above 100,000 lines of code. And that was a game written by 2 people. So imagine a game like, I don't know, World of Warcraft is in the many millions. And maybe an indie game could be like in the high tens of thousands, maybe. Like a small indie game, I mean. I'm trying to think of an example. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so now we're not pulling half of these things from here anymore. So we don't need the name. I guess that was only used for that anyway. And then we don't need cooldown reset or the current cooldown. So if these things are now gone, then we're going to pull it from the ability. And I guess the ability needs to know its own ability reset time, active ability. Yeah, cooldown reset. What was the point of this? Set cooldown. Set cooldown isn't even needed anymore, right? Yeah, I think to do replace with a process function. Excuse me. Done using entirely with Unreal blueprints. Wow. That's pretty impressive. Also goes to show that the bar for entry is lowered, which I think is generally a good thing. Such good company. Thanks. Thank you for watching, Anima. Like I talk through things and explain what you're doing. Yeah, I think it's important if you're going to watch me do something. I think it's also important for me just clarifying what my thought process is. Oftentimes, well, not maybe often, but sometimes you'll hear me say a sentence, stop in the middle of it, realize what my mistake is, and then fix it. All right, so we don't need to keep track of the current cooldown because now the ability has that information. So I guess we just put this here. We should probably just make a process function. Yeah, let's do that. All right, so what are we doing now? I guess everything that was in here, we're putting over here. Excuse me, man. We ignore the delta. I don't care about that. So we get this stuff, cooldown bar, set the scale correctly. And then if it's less than this, yeah, cool. That's all good. All right, anything else that's broken in here? I don't know, but I might not know until I hit play over here. Something's going to be broken because I'm going to try to call a function that doesn't exist. Yeah, set cooldown. I just deleted that. And there it is. Yeah, so this shouldn't be needed anymore. We instead just call, actually, we don't call anything. Set is turn ready is based on, okay, this is a little weird. Yeah, this doesn't really need to be here. I guess we're going to change this to be like this. If the player has their turn, then set all of these things to true. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this, and we don't need this. Okay, I think we're probably good. Let's take a look. What's it doing? What is this doing? It's using an attack that's on cooldown. How's it doing that? Apparently force use means like force it to break the rules of the game. If force use ability, okay, yeah, so it should be that the ability cooldown has to be less than or equal to 0. And either that you queued it or that you force it to be used. There we go. So now it's always going to use the first ability that it can, which is not smart. So like here it should use 2. No, it's still breaking. What? Oh, whoops, that was supposed to be an and. Okay. All right, take 3. So it's going to use 2. Oh, I guess it'll always use 2. I was going to say if the cooldown were long enough, it would use 3. But then once it's used 2 enough times, it's going to use 1. Right when this is ready. Nice, yeah. And it only killed the one at the upper left. All right, good. Pumpkin Jack and Choo Choo Charles. Man, Choo Choo Charles is like the greatest name for a game. Never heard of this, though. Oh, it's a spooky game. Oh, man, I was picturing something very fun and lighthearted. I guess that's the point. Subvert expectations. But, yeah, not what I was expecting to see. I think we're done with this. Yeah, I think we're done with this. And now add a passive ability just to make sure the foundation is in place. I'm not going to do this. I don't think this is worthwhile right now. Well, actually, I guess because I had this code here. Yeah, we'll just move this to another entire task. Save this, mark this as done. Go make a new task. Add passive abilities. Okay. All right, let's check this in. This should be pretty simple. This was me just putting an ability into ability button, which got rid of a bunch of code, which I'm happy about. Oh, wait a second. Whatever happened to that function that should have been deleted that I apparently didn't ever delete? I have it to do in here somewhere. This function shouldn't exist. Yeah, does this? Oh, it's still needed. Why is it still needed? Get ability by index. Okay, I'm pretty sure we can get rid of this. Get ability by index. So it's only used in one spot. So we'll just delete this and put this in that one spot and then get rid of it. Whoops, I gotta delete one more line. There we go. So this is equal to this. And now is this even needed? Primary character data, equipped abilities. I guess we need the button that it's associated with. We only need the button though. We get the ability from the button. Wow, yeah, good thing I realized that. Ability button dot ability. Done and delete. Yeah, much nicer. Okay, let's test that. Wait, that only attacked 2 things. Oh, because I have it set to force. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can't pick things when it's set to force. Cool. Yeah, we're not checking in that, and we're not checking in that. So just checking these 2 things. Put ability into ability button. This prevents having to pass a bunch of things all over the place. Also fixed an issue where force, what is it called? Force usability ignored cooldowns. Are these like both exactly 72 characters? These strike me as being just barely 67 and 63. Well, they look like long lines. All right, now we are at the point where we try to figure out what to do next, which is probably just skill trees. So let's just drag this over here. Let's also just quickly take a look at the design document and see what we've done so far. So starting out, you pick 1 character class, that's done. Characters, there are no parties in the game, life values persist, both of those are done. You only allow 1 character per class, didn't really come into effect yet. New characters, yep, we haven't done that yet. Automation isn't fully done yet. And probably I should put that somewhere. Like I think your character should be at least somewhat smart about using automation, maybe. How would it do that though? Each ability would have to have like a, is this a good situation to be used in? I don't think we should do that. Yeah, I don't think we should do that. I think we should just make it so that I'll just say add proper player automation for the player's abilities. So do not try to make a smart AI. It's not worth it for the prototype. Just randomly pick an ability. If anything, add some weights to what you pick, but no need to check the battle state. Oh, actually, you might need to check the battle state for whether you can use the ability. Yeah, and I'll just write how this works currently, which is currently force usability just always picks the first ability from the left. Yeah. Trying to use the force. Maybe I am. Maybe I'm force coding. Okay, what else is in the design? See, automation isn't totally done. And also moving around within a region isn't done. Technically, if you stand in a region long enough, you should get into a battle even without automation because the enemies are moving around. But the whole point of automating it is to make it faster. So I technically don't have to do anything. Take care, Mayonnaise. Thanks for all the help. You deserve 10 points. Mayonnaise is like, what? Where did I help? Woo! All right, world map split into regions. Again, technically done. This is technically done. Enemy pools are collections of enemies and levels. We didn't do this part yet. We don't have levels in the pools right now. When we get to content, we're going to need to do that. Where's all the content stuff? Here it is. Should be 3 classes, way to get new characters, all elements of damage. Yeah. Enemies should spawn with proper level and stat scaling. The region should know which levels to spawn. That's legally binding. I don't think so. Regions are darkened on the map. They have waypoints and stuff. We might not do this, and it might not really matter for the prototype. Yeah, like teleporting between regions and stuff. So player-wide skill tree, again, not sure if that's going to affect the prototype. The stats we have, but they don't do anything. So perhaps we should write that down. Make stats actually do something. Actually, does it really matter? I guess the stats are kind of meaningless, huh? Oh, no, they're not meaningless. The reason they're needed is because you can buff stats. as opposed to buffing abilities. Otherwise, level could be the only thing that we use. Yeah. Who is at the top of the points list? It's Yo still with 14. More than double second place. But then everyone else is pretty close. Experience gain, we also don't have in the game yet. Class abilities, we've done a good chunk of this. Yeah, no cost but cooldowns. Yeah, so this is what we're going to work on. Oh, wait a second. I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah, that's true. You have 3 abilities at the beginning, but you eventually unlock new abilities. I think we're still just going to make the skill tree. The skill tree doesn't completely unlock abilities, though, unless a passive is technically the automation passive. I'll have to think of how we're going to do that. Yeah. First skill anyone has to get is the automation one. Need to figure out how we code this. It could technically be a passive that gets triggered at every start of turn. Or it could be something hard-coded for now. It's probably going to be something hard-coded for now. Make a loadout. You choose 3 abilities from your tree you can use in battle. Yeah, that needs to be done for sure. I don't think we're going to do that first, though. But yeah, our skill tree, we need to have something that lets you pick, that lets you put points into abilities. I gotta think about this. So I'm picturing, I guess it's something like a Diablo 2 skill calculator, in that you can't put points into an ability that oh, well, this lets you do it, but it does it by giving you the prerequisite. So if you click down here at the bottom, it fills in everything. But anyway, that wouldn't be possible. Like you couldn't click here. You'd have to put in a point here and then here and then here. And it would have to tell you when you unlock the skill. I think it's important that you don't just start with all the skills, even in the prototype. I think that's part of the fun of the game. So yeah. All right, how about this? Let's just go make a skill tree that doesn't even follow the rules of the game. We're just going to tinker around with how to even code this. So we'll start with a new scene, and we'll call this skill tree. This is going to be purely UI though, right? So I guess actually we should change the type of this to a control. Okay, so what I'm picturing is you have a background here. Is there something that easily gives us that? Color rect, yeah. So this is going to be the background. Shrink this, increase this. Probably make this a little bit darker, maybe slightly opaque. Something like that. Okay, and then you have a bunch of buttons in here that represent the skills that you can get. So like this would just say skill 1, 0 points. Does this not have a background? Oh, it's just the same color or almost the same color. How do I change the background color? Theme? No. How do you change the background color of this? Icon alignment. Huh. I could modulate it, but I think it's going to modulate everything, right? Well, definitely change the text color. Theme override style box. New theme. Oh, theme override. There it is. I see. Clear this. Style, colors. Where's the background color? What? Hover. Oh, maybe this is icon. I don't even have an icon here. And these are font colors. Where is this? Oh, style box empty. What even is this? Style box flat. Oh, there we go. Woohoo! Cool. Thank you. All right, let's put that into here somewhere. Do I have a UI section? I probably don't. No, I feel like I should add a UI section. UI, user interface. No, the reason I'm putting this in parentheses is so I can search for it. I know what UI means, and I'm sure everyone who reads the note will know what it means, but it's easier to search for. So let's say coloring button backgrounds. So it's theme over. Hey, Alt F4, how's it going? Thank you for the raid. I will demonstrate this, the thing that I'm working on, in 1 sec. Let me just write something down really fast. So go to the theme overrides and then styles and then normal and then make a style box flat. Okay, so I started working on this game on Monday. It is called Idle Ascendants, and it is very much in the prototype phase, and that's all we're working toward right now. But it is a game that starts out sort of like Final Fantasy 1. Like, here's the title screen, you click start new game, you can pick a character. Again, very like Final Fantasy 1-esque. Right now, there's no difference between the characters. So you pick one, you click start, and now you're on this overworld. And the overworld is, like I said, a prototype. We've got the green area and the yellow area, and all the enemies are just moving here to make it easier to fight them. And so when you move on to an enemy, you get into a battle. And then you will start by choosing what your battle options are that you want to do. So we have this debug attack 2, which fights 2 enemies at once, and 3 would hit 3 enemies at once. And so this is how you start, but as you level up, you will start automating this stuff. So now instead of picking it, well, actually what you see happening right now, like I'm not choosing the actions because I already have it set to automated. So then you'll unlock new characters. You'll, pick their skills that they have. They'll use their different skills in battle. And yeah, that's what we've been working on. So the goal here is to get to the point where we can release the prototype for people to test so they can say whether it's fun. And if it's fun, we'll pursue the game. And if it's not fun, we'll just, cry in a corner. I'll probably try improving the design and then seeing if it's worthwhile. But if people get this in their hands and they're just like, yeah, this is garbage, I don't want to play this game, then fine, we won't make it. Looks like you're making a tutorial to make a game. I'm not. The notes I was writing were just for myself, although technically everyone in chat has access to them too. So if you go to notes.adamlearns.com, you can search for Godot, for example, and find not the ones I literally just wrote, but other ones here that were already written from the last time I uploaded these. So like pretty much all the notes you see me writing on stream, you could get access to. And it's free. It's just a website, right? So yeah, welcome in everybody. Let me know if you have any questions. I am going to be working on a skill tree system right now. So we definitely need a way for you to customize your abilities in the game. And since this is a prototype, we're just going to be doing this pretty much as fast as possible. So I'm going to start by just making a skill tree for a game that doesn't exist, essentially. And then we're going to start tailoring this toward the game that I'm actually making. Yeah, that's Obsidian. Yeah. Hey, Fohammer. If you want multiple buttons that have the same background, you can consider making a theme and applying that theme to the UI elements. A theme. Oh, very interesting. Yeah, so if you want many buttons to have the same theme, make a theme and have them share that theme. Yeah, interesting. Thanks. Where we go. Yeah, so I think we will want a theme eventually for this. So I guess let's just make one now. Can you name these? You could save it. I probably would want to save this. I wonder where I save this. T-res. Maybe I'll just make a resources thing. Resources. And we'll call this like, I don't know, skill tree theme. All right, now theme overrides we actually don't want, right? We want the theme to have that information. How do you do that though? Or is that just automatically the case? Like if I go make a new button now and then drag this somewhere, testeroni, and then give it the theme that I just made. What? How do I do this? Load. Now you can edit each individual component in your theme editor at the oh, I see. Oh, I think I have done this before a long time ago. Then use the window at the bottom to edit that theme. It's not in the inspector on the side. Yeah. Okay, so I want to use this theme and get rid of the override and instead pick the button and do something here. What am I doing? I have no idea how to use this thing. What? Add? What am I adding? Whoa, what did I just do? I saw this modify something over here, test, and it's a color. I guess this is part of the theme. I don't know where that went. All right, what are these things at the side here though? Like there's no hover information. Plus at the top right, choose button. Oh my goodness, this is the least clear. Maybe I've never have used this. All right, theme editor. So if you want many components in a UI to use the same theme, make a theme in the inspector, then modify it using the theme button at the bottom of the editor. All right, so delete this. Yeah. And then to use this, start by clicking the plus button at the upper right and selecting something like button. And then you can customize all of the properties of a button. From there, you can customize all of the shared properties of a button. Yeah. All right, so one of these is going to be the background color. Normal. Here it is. Edit. What? What does editing this do? Why? Why is this so confusing? Whoa, what is going on? New style box flat. Okay, somehow I just did this, but I don't know. This has got to be the most confusing UI I've ever seen in Godot. The style box is the thing that looks like a rainbow square with a drop. Oh, I have to click that part of it, not the middle part? Hang on, how did I do this? Because now it's showing a style box, but originally it was the button, and I clicked this and it did nothing. So I had to click the plus, and then make a style box, and then click the style box. Okay. Sure. All right, we're gonna write this out as a list of instructions then. Start by clicking the plus button at the upper right and selecting something like button. From there, you can customize all the shared properties of a button. This still isn't the most straightforward though. So, all right, here's what we're gonna do. Take a picture of this. And then, so click there and then there and then there. Okay, the plus button at the upper right and selecting something like button. From there, you can customize all the properties of a button. Still is the most straightforward though. So click the plus button to the left of one of the style boxes to add a new one. And then select new style box flat. And then click the style box flat that you just made to change the inspector to that style box. Okay, I'm giving him an automatic bind another point for that. If you apply a theme to a control node, all of its inherent. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna write that down too. You can apply a theme to a control node and it will be inherited by all children. Oh, this is, wow, yeah, all right. Well, at least we can now pick our, cool blue color over here and hope that this works. Why is this not working? Oh no. Do I need to do something after this? It just undid itself? What? I selected blue the first time. Why didn't I do anything the first time? No, hold on a second. I add a new one of these. I click new style box. I click this color and I select, okay, there, whatever. Don't care. I'm nearly positive I did that the first time, but maybe I didn't. Okay, so we have a button. Wow. Now we want for that button to do something, right? So what are the requirements? What do we actually want to make here? I'm going to write these things out because otherwise I'm not going to remember what I'm doing. So don't allow clicking a button until the requirements are satisfied. Which is the requirements can be a character level and a previous skills being unlocked. Excuse me. Allow for clicking a skill to invest points. Show the number of points you have in each skill. What else do we want to say here? Have some way of indicating which skills are required to get other ones. I got to figure out how this is even going to work for the game, because the way I had planned abilities is that you just get the abilities when you level up. So you would start with slash and sweeping arc and crush. And then these are what you would have in your skill tree. So if I were to draw this out, technically it would look like, I guess this is slash, and then you'd have mods 1, 2, and 3. And imagine these are buttons. But you don't ever need to click this one because this gets unlocked with just leveling up. So actually, we could probably just represent all of your skills in just one kind of canvas that you can pan around. Maybe just automatically unlock new skills and allow upgrading them with points. Does it make sense to upgrade the skills? Maybe it does. You could increase the damage, I guess. But your level would also do that. I'm not sure. I guess that could go either way. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I'll need to think about that some more. I guess we'll just add that as a question. Should you be able to invest points into a like base ability? E.g., should slash itself have upgrades? Or just its mods? Well, it could work either way. And I think the important part when it comes to the skill system like this is making sure that there's like some amount of balance. You wouldn't want to have it so that you just literally put points in here and just use this ability for the rest of the entire game and that's it. Your slash can turn into a backslash. It's an acrobatic slash. Actually, that's not really something I'd thought about, is it? Yeah, what stops your skills from getting to be overpowered? I mean, if you were to upgrade just this ability, let's say you got this to be super powerful and you're striking down every enemy in one hit, then I guess the only way to stop that from being too powerful is to make it so that the other skills would have had to kill enemies faster, and then that way you're not dying as much. For now, just make a number slot which does nothing. Yeah, or that it's, I guess, always set to like 1 out of 1. It doesn't even have to be a button though. Like it could just be a picture. Yeah, like imagine I had this here and this represented slash, and then from here you got, skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and there are lines going to it. Enemy resistances to certain attacks. They'll have resistances to certain attacks by virtue of the element system. So for example, if you have a physical attack, there might be an enemy that has a really high armor, and then you should use fire or something on it. But not all characters will have the ability to use something else. So like the mage has no physical attacks, I think. It just has elemental attacks. And the warrior has no elemental attacks, it just has physical attacks. And I think that's part of the fun of the game too, is figuring out where do you fight enemies that you synergize well against. Excuse me, I guess it's not really synergy in that case. Well, this is part of the determining the fun of the game. So I guess let's at least continue along with what the design was. So have a way of indicating which skills are required to use other ones. E.g. coding an array of requirements. Don't allow clicking a button until the requirements are satisfied. Allow for clicking a skill to invest points. Show the number of points you have in each skill. Show on hover tooltips describing the current level and then how much the skill changes per level. Yeah, the first skill anyone has to get is the automation one. And you have to get a certain number of points in that too. Allow for requirements specifying a number of the previous skill. The automation skill is required at first, so no other skill should be obtainable until it's fully like unlocked, invested in. I don't know what you say, but whatever, that's probably clear enough. Given that this is all just going to be like buttons, I don't think it's that important to prototype all of the skill tree stuff ahead of time. We can just probably code it correctly into the game the first time. I also now wonder, how should you lay this out? Originally, I was thinking tabs, but really, if you only have 15 different skills you can get, they could probably all just fit on the same screen. I guess I don't have passives in there too. Also, I guess you don't unlock the abilities at first either. I guess there's also the question of, is it bad to have overpowered attacks? Some users don't mind at all. I guess as the designer, what do you think? I think there just needs to be some strategic depth. So let's say your very first skill you got lasted you until the end of the game, and if you just put all your points into that, then you just only ever use that first skill and nothing else. And it's like, that's probably not fun. But I don't mind if you do something like you come up with a build that is better than another build. That's fine. So the way this would start is with your automation skill. Automation 0 / what is it, 4 points? 25, 50, yeah, 4 points. All right, so you have your automation skill, then you have, I'm just gonna write these out as like, now let's try to keep this pretty simple at first. /mod1. All right. I don't really want to duplicate buttons because I'm going to copy everything that we had over here. Although maybe I do. I don't know. These should all just inherit the thing from the parent. There we go. Yeah, fine. Let's duplicate some of this stuff. So /mod2 and /mod3. All right. So technically, the way that this would work is a little weird, I guess. Like, you have to put points into this one at first, and everything else in the skill tree is going to be darkened until you can do that. And we probably need some way of representing that as well. Yeah. Visually show when you don't have the requirements, e.g. by darkening a skill slot. You should still be able to hover over it though. Yeah, so I think I'm still thinking too much about like layout and everything. I don't think it really matters. I think what we really could do is we could just put all of them in a table and somehow make it clear what the requirements are. Now, if I were to just have this show up on screen, how much does this take up of the screen? Scenes, skill tree. Oh, very little. So it looks like garbage. Is it even obvious when you click something? Oh, I see. It turns black. So we could have the skill tree just be full screen at first and some way to close it. I have a viewport outline. Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, so if we're not going to worry too much about this, then I guess that would be fine. I guess you just want to see how many points you put in each skill. Which skills are, yeah. Visually show when you don't have it, allow for clicking a skill, show the number of points you have in each skill without having to hover. I'm so torn on a lot of this. And I know I should just be zipping through this, but I'm still not sure what this is going to look like or if this is a good idea for the game. Also, the other thing is that even with these skills, like I haven't coded any of the abilities, and then some of these are probably going to be a little bit tough to do. Maybe like this one might be. I don't have any buffs yet in the game. But yeah, that's a different problem. So I think what I'm thinking about here is that this should probably be combined with which abilities you have, and there should be some clear indication of how you get those abilities. So let's just mess around with this for a little bit more here. Let's do this. Drag these over here. And we'll do something like add a label, and this will say level, or like, we need to know that it's unlocked. So bad at visualizing things. Yeah, well, fine. Let's still just write this out. This goes here. We get our 3 different mods here. And then we maybe draw some lines in between them. Is that even a thing you can do? Is there like arbitrary shape here? I don't think you'd be able to do something like that. I don't see something for it. Yeah, I could maybe make a rectangle that is just a thin line and then rotate it. Is there a rotation here? Layout, transform. Yeah, rotation. Okay. Yeah, so this is how we could accomplish this. I don't know if this is the best way. It's going to be such a mess. Look like trash. Hey, Farzia? Is that what your name is? Farzia? I don't know. I can read Arabic, but I don't know exactly how to pronounce your name. That's how I do it properly, or probably, yeah. All right, so duplicate this a bunch of times. Whoops. Oh man, this is gonna be annoying. So all of these get laid out a little differently every time, huh? So this one's probably gonna be positive 24. There we go. Call me Saif. What? But that's not in your name. All right, transform for this. We just reset. All right, there we go. So something like this multiplied by, however many skills we have, which I guess is 5 per character. And that would form all the active ones that you get. It just kind of makes me think, are trees the best way to show this? I'm using someone else's account. Why not just go on your account? Anyway, I guess it doesn't really matter. So I could do this. I guess I'd hard code like 3 different entire skill trees and then all the requirements and stuff. And then in the future, maybe make it so that they're dynamic. Although that might not even be important to do. So does this work for the game? I guess so. Like I said, I'm already putting too much time. Could you do pie slices and have an outer ring or something? I'm not picturing this correctly. But here's, I guess, maybe what I was thinking about when you said pie slices. Like each one of these represents one skill and you divide it into 3. And so you have mod 1, 2, and 3. And yeah, you've divided this into like rings here. I guess I could have drawn this better, but I'm not sure if that would be clear to players for what's going on here. I guess it would let you see pretty quickly how far into this circle you are. Yeah. What was that? Hang on one sec. I heard the cat like groan or something. Where is the cat? Aha. There she is. Sleeping just outside the room. Now, like 5 pie slices for each ability and then an outer ring with 15 segments, 3 for each slice. 5 pie slices. Okay. We're gonna try to make this into fifths. It's actually pretty good. And then an outer ring with 15 segments, 3 for each slice. What? I'm not sure I get that. Like, I think you're saying like this, but I don't. You'd have to select a very thin segment of the circle, I guess. If you want to do it that way, I'd say the best thing to do would be to make the tree open downwards and have the slots be below it. Well, okay, I'm scrapping the circle idea only because I'm not sure it'd be clearer. And yeah, as far as the tree goes, I think if you have a skill tree, is because you have a lot of requirements in between your skills. And I just don't think that's really the case. Do I still have the Diablo 2 one open? I don't. All right, Diablo 2 skill calculator. So we go back to this and we click, whatever. Here, there were a lot of skills that depended on one another. I guess I don't have that. Yeah. Am I busy or am I free to work on a project of yours? I am quite busy. Random YouTuber. Oh boy. Oh man. All right, yeah, I don't think a tree even makes sense. I honestly, I think this is like a table, pretty much a table of which skills you're gonna unlock, and we probably could just do it like this, like skill name, required level, and then or ability name, required level, and then like mod 1, mod 2, mod 3, and you have slash, and the required level is 1, and mod 1 is whatever arcing slash or something like that. I think that'd probably be fine. And all of these are unlocked by you first automating your character, which at that point, it's like, why even have it be in a skill tree, I guess? It shows a requirement in the description of the mod or upgrade. Which Doom even has that? Like Doom Eternal skill trees? I only played a little bit of Eternal. Then I got stuck on some jump part of it that I couldn't figure out and uninstalled. So I don't remember how this works. I could probably look at a calculator or something. Yeah, I should really take a break. All right. Let's see. Where did I leave off with this? Oh, yeah. I think just laying them out on the table is fine. I'm really overthinking this. So skill tree stuff, just get it to be functional. Table is fine. Table of buttons is fine. Just need to figure out what I'm doing about the automation skill. But we could just hard code that for now. Okay, I'll be back in a little bit. Have fun playing Jump Royale. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Hey again. Wow, 16 people. Nice. Close the game. All right, so yeah, let's get to work on this. I think we're just going to put everything in a table. Is there actually a table that we can add? Is that a thing? If not, we can essentially make one. I think they have a grid. I think that would work. Tab bar tree. Oh, interesting. What does this look like? Columns 1. What if we put buttons in here? I don't see anything in this. I don't know what this is doing. Huh. Well, expand again. They were in their old spot. Oh, I see. Yeah. Because I'm just putting these in like random spots in the tree. Yeah, that's true. Okay. I don't know why I'm doing any of this. I really should just be, well, what we can't. I should just be doing this in a way that we know will work. So I think a grid should be fine. Where is delete there? All right, grid container. Okay, so now we put these buttons in there. 2 and 3. Okay, so this could be, I think this is okay. If we say, what am I thinking here? We lay this out horizontally, I guess. Layout direction. Or, oh, we just had 3. What am I are smart. Yeah, so I was thinking is we then put a label over here too. Yeah, actually we already had this /level1. And just put this at the top. And then set the number of things to this. So yeah, we just have a bunch of these. And you'll know when you can click or not click them. So let's copy this and paste it a bunch of times. Duplicate, 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 duplicate. And then make a VBox container of all of those things. VBox container. There we go. And then we just rename these things. I don't even think it's worth renaming them. Well, let's at least get the real names of the abilities. Sweeping Arc, Crush, Rallying Cry. Oh man, it's too late to do this now easily. No, it's not too late to do this. All right, here's what we'll do. We will make this a little easier for ourselves by renaming all of these buttons to just be mod 1, mod 2, mod 3. And that way I don't need to change like 15 of these. I just changed 3. There we go. And now duplicate these. And then just rename these things. What I call it, sweeping arc. And then the other one is Crush, Rallying Cry, and Wild Strike. Crush, Rallying Cry, and Wild Strike. Okay, there is our skill tree. Looks terrible. Now, all of this would come after you've gotten the automation ability. Automation skill. So we move this container just down to here, I guess. Delete all these colored rectangles. And then this is what's gonna be needed before you get down to here. So all these things are gonna be disabled at some point. Cool. Well, anyway, there we have it. That's the skill tree. Looks terrible. And I don't care. And then you need some way of closing this too. So I guess we'll put a button at the upper left that's like close. Do I watch Tier Zoo? I've seen some videos. I haven't watched a lot. So we'll call this the close button. And we'll just put an X here. Can you use emojis? You can. All right, I'll just say close. And I don't even know if this is really needed because you could probably close this just by putting or by clicking outside of this thing. But sure, let's put this over here. All right, there's our wonderful skill tree. Yeah, so now let's add a script. Why are people mocking me? Can you right align the buttons? Nope. Sorry, this is what you get. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about that though. I think this is one of the things that is clearly under polish. Yeah, quadruple A game. Okay, so you need some way of opening your skill tree. I guess just pressing S should be how you do it. So that would be something that the game probably handles. Actually, I guess the world map would handle it. Because the world map is... Well, no, the game can handle it. Does the game know what the current scene is? Actually, you know what? I'm going to have the world map handle it. It doesn't matter. All right, so func unhandled input. Hey, there's also unhandled key input. Is that new? Key input, Godot? Or is that just AI messing up? Plan is to make a game from the Tier Zoo channel a reality. What's the gameplay like? $2 microtransaction for aligning buttons. Oh man. Actually, I don't think that's I don't think that's been explored in games, has it? Like making the UI be annoying and then having it be less annoying if you pay money. It's usually gameplay related. I guess the closest you could say to that is getting rid of ads. The Wi-Fi toggle thing, that was hilarious to me. Okay, so I don't think this actually is a thing, and it doesn't matter. So we're just going to copy this. And this is going to be key S. S for skills. Then we're going to do get viewport. It should just know what I want to type here. It doesn't. Was it like set handled, input handled? Yeah. So this is void. And this is an input event. And that means that this is going to break. There. Okay, and what we do in this case is we open up the skill tree. So we could instantiate this every time. I mean, it's like 20 buttons, right? I don't think it should be that hard. Work on it soon and start the development soon. No, what I mean is not did you make the gameplay, but like what do you have planned for gameplay? So if I were saying, hey, I'm making an FPS that takes place in space, the gameplay would be, you know, go around, shoot other people in space, maybe get into a spaceship and go to a different planet or something. Specifically called for keyboard, I got it. Make it literal play to win. Isn't that like every game? Or you to, oh, I think you mean pay to win. Or you get to the final boss. Can't lay the final blow. Yeah. I mean, a lot of games are already close enough to that sort of pay to win style where I feel like it wouldn't even be a joke. Dragon's Dogma has tons of DLC for basic standard features. I'm not familiar. Okay, so we're going to load in a scene that will be added here. I guess you should only really have one skill tree thing open at a time. We can maybe eventually create them on the fly, but we'll say skill tree is a skill tree, and we just, yep, it's not equal to anything to begin with. So if you press this, let's show it. I mean, I guess you only have one to begin with. So we could just add this here. Sure, fine. Skill tree equals load skill tree. Cool. Yeah, there we go. Enter the world, survive by fighting, sleeping. Then when you're old and healthy enough, you look for a mate. Once you reproduce, you win. Okay, yeah, yeah. Reminds me of Ark a little bit. Yeah, survival evolved. Is action just pressed? Oh, yeah, I'm fine with just this for now, I guess. I do recognize that there are different input handling keys, but this is at least, vein of prototyping sort of thing. Okay, so skill tree.show. I didn't realize this was a thing you could do, but it makes sense. Everywhere I've been setting visible to true. Yeah, there's presumably also a hide. So what we really want to do though is toggle whether it's showing. Is there a way to do that? Toggle. Oh wait, there is a toggle visibility? Or is it just making this up? No, that doesn't exist. Okay, fine. Well, we'll just have visible equal to not visible. Good. Delete this. Okay, so we're going to show this, or we're going to hide this, and we need to add this here. Add child skill tree. We could have just done this in the editor. Yeah, let's go see how that looks. It's actually part of the world. That is a bad idea. Although that is actually kind of interesting to have it be part of the world. But I think we should add it in terms of screen coordinates. And I think there might be a way to do that. Godot, add control, or like show UI and screen coordinates. Market for that. I think if you're looking to make this game succeed, by the way, I'm responding to someone on YouTube who's talking about making a game based on Tier Zoo. I think if you're looking to make a game like that, first of all, you'd need Tier Zoo to probably promote this game for you, because having 2 million subs, I mean, even if they show this game, the game would have to be, good enough for other people to want to play it, and it'd have to have compelling gameplay, and, I don't know. I think there are just a lot of things that go into this, but I know you said you're starting development soon enough, so I think you'll find a way to navigate through some of that. The progress is nice. The progress on everything except for the skill tree thing is pretty nice. Battles are working. Attacks are just automatically chosen right now, but you could click one of these and have it pick a different attack. So yeah, it's coming along. Let's have it skip the title screen too. Is the world a control? The world is not a control. And I guess controls have to have control parents, which means I need to put this in. I don't have anything that actually has a control. Yeah, how do you position an overlay UI? I think there's. Huh. Well, I mean, I could always just put this in terms of global position and not do anything else here. We just say skill tree.global position. Does that work? I don't think that'll work. I think it'll work the very first time we do something. No, it won't work at all. They don't have to have control parents. So there's some other way. Do I have to use like viewports or canvases or something? Yeah, I'll have to think about this. So if I already kind of mentioned this, I'm not gonna be a developer on your game. I think trying to, joining a YouTube channel and asking, hey, will you develop my game with me? Uh, this is almost sort of a meme on the internet at this point of like, hey, if I have a great idea, if I just got a bunch of people to work on it for me and then they can split the profit, we'll all be rich. And games typically don't work that way. Like the odds of any game getting done are already pretty slim, and then the odds of it being successful are even slimmer than that. I don't say that to be negative. It's just like, yeah, you should work on the game, have fun. If you release it, you release it. If not, you probably learned a lot along the way and you probably enjoyed it. Yeah, so let's go see how we do this. Godot, show control in screen coordinates. I want to do node 2D in screen coordinates. I wonder if just putting this into a canvas layer is all I really need. Let me try it just to see. Actually, I guess what we could do is we could just instantiate the skill tree directly in here and then see how it works, right? Yeah, and then add a canvas layer. Is this what no, this is not what I want. Out of curiosity now, what if I put this in its own viewport? Interface to a game world that doesn't create a window or draw to the screen directly. Okay, I wonder what that's doing. I probably then need a sprite that pulls from this viewport or something. Yeah, this isn't gonna. All right, well, so much for simple. Let's not even probably worry about this for now. So what if it's at 0, 0 in the world? I'll probably just figure this out later. If you don't set the position, where does it appear? I would think it would have a screen position rather than a world position. I think because I'm doing add child, first of all, I think the position's default to 0, 0, whether I do this or not. But yeah, so I think it's always going to be in the world 0, 0 position. And that's true even, oh, well, I didn't even open it, but yeah. The close button doesn't do anything anyway. So there's something else I need to do to get this to be in screen coordinates. Maybe transform container sizing, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about this for now then. So let's get the close button to work, I guess. that's at least easy enough to do. So the skill tree should have a way of getting its close button, which delete this. Yeah, delete that, go over to here. Close button is just called close button. So func close button. Oh, what am I doing? I'm like not thinking about anything anymore. Yeah, so close button dot connect pressed self dot close. Yep, and that is just going to be hide. I'm actually kind of surprised that this worked without complaining at me, because it doesn't know that this is a button, so it doesn't know that it has the pressed event, right? So can I close this now? Yeah. Looks so stupid. Okay, so now we would need to keep track of how many points you have. We have a character that's backing this. So when you're opening a skill tree, you're really opening it for a player, which I guess is an overworld character, and you only have the one to begin with. So I think that's the important thing I've got to do here. What happened? Set underlying character or set associated character or something like that. Character. All right, so this is an overworld character. Now these have these have data in here. I guess all we need is the character data and not even the overworld character. So I guess let's use that instead. So we get the character data. We could set this here too. Yeah. All right, and then when we spawn this, we want to spawn it with your character, and world map doesn't even know what that is, does it? I guess here it does, but it doesn't keep track of this anywhere. And that's actually an issue, is that we don't keep track of it anywhere. So I suppose we could, where do we add the player character? We have a static function there, which is called from game. Game just has add overworld character, but it doesn't know whether this is an enemy or not. No, it doesn't. And I used to pass that in, but I don't anymore. I guess that's all we really need is we could just check in here if it is one or not. All right, fine. So let's do this. If overworld character dot is player or is owned by player, then skill tree dot set associated character to be this thing's character data. Now, why is that not allowed? I called it primary character data. Yeah, I guess that's what we need. All right. So now we have the primary character data in here. So when you choose to get the automation skill, we could set in the character data how automated you are. And I'll probably just hard code this. What about other world characters? Oh, and underworld? Yeah. What if we did, I always thought this was kind of an interesting idea. It's like what Minecraft did with the Nether, of you have this world that actually is related to the original world. Like the farther you move in the Nether, the farther you move in, or you move like 8 times the amount or something in the overworld. So let's hook up this button now. This is automation skill. So when you press that button, self dot on press automation button. So we need to know how many points this character has in this skill already. Character data. We can just hard code this in here for now, like automation level. And we could just set this to, I don't know, an int. Yeah, and start at 0. To do this probably shouldn't be in every character data, since it only applies to players and only to their primary character. We're going to just throw it here for now, though. So when you press this button, we're going to increase the underlying character data's automation thing. So this would be plus equal 1. And we can only allow that up to a certain point. So if their level is already 4, then just return. This button will do nothing. Otherwise, add to it. Okay, and then we need to render on the button itself how many points you have in it. So right now it says automation 0/4 points. I guess we can just say, whoops, I keep messing that up. Update automation button label. All right, so the text is going to be automation %d/4 points. Yeah. And then this is going to be the automation level that you have. And then we're going to set that on the button. Automation skill. Is that what it's called? It is called that. All right. As what button? All right. And then we just update this. All right. Let's try that out. So we launch this, we open up the skill tree, we click this, it should be able to go up to 4, and then that's it. Yeah. And the close button should work. Good. Okay, this is actually modifying the underlying player that we have here. You shouldn't be able to access any of these buttons until until you've maxed out on the automation skill, so we can go get that to work next. I'm guessing button has a disabled property. Yeah, disabled right there. So we need to get every button that exists. Set main skills enabled. Actually, it's kind of just like update the entire skill tree. Yeah. So I'll say like, I'll just call it update skill tree. Or maybe validate skill tree or something like that. Probably just update, that's fine. So start by setting every button to disabled. So in this particular case, we want to get all of the buttons that exist. Can you add them to a group inside the UI? Yeah, there is a button group. I don't know what this means. What is a button group? Not to be confused with node groups. Oh, this is for radio buttons. Excuse me. Okay, yeah, so that doesn't help us. We could fetch all of the buttons that we have here. They're conveniently called button 2, 3, and 4. Have I ever played Titanfall 2? No, I haven't. I've never played a Titanfall game. So I guess it's all of the buttons inside grid containers inside the VBox container. So let's just go do that. Navigating through a building and you have to jump back and forth between the present and the past of the device so you can get past obstacles and enemies. So that'd be cool to have some sort of puzzle or maze game like that. Back and forth between the present and the past. It sort of reminds me of Braid with time manipulation in a puzzle game. Jump time? It shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm at 2 hours and 37 minutes. It should be another like 20-ish minutes or so. I think time-based puzzles like that can be kind of interesting. And I feel like I've seen this done in another game too, and I don't recall where. Like going to different times and seeing the world be in a different state. Maybe I'm just thinking of like Myst or something. Private Orange. Oh, you just heard it. Okay, my bad. All right, so setting everything to disabled. I guess what we're going to do is we're going to get the vbox container.getChildren. So these are going to be grid containers. And we got to be careful to never break this. This is so stupid. Our grid container, it's an array of grid container. Does that work? Cannot assign node to that. Yeah, I thought so. Okay, now for grid container and grid containers, this is going to be get the buttons. Except for not all of them are buttons. So now we need to go into them and see if they are buttons. And if they are, then we do something with them. So if button instance of button. It's apparently not instance of. Isn't there some like... Am I making this up? Did I never do this? What is it? Huh. What am I thinking of here? GD script instance of. I don't know what it is I'm thinking of, but I'm pretty sure this exists. And I don't know. What am I thinking of? Quickly check whether an object instance has a property. Text in object. I could have sworn there was an instance of operator. Yeah, this. How do I do this? Oh, just is. Okay. Yeah. All right, there we go. So now they'll all be disabled. Well, no, they won't because I never called this. So update skill tree. There. So they're all going to be disabled until you have 4 points in the thing, and I don't have 4 points. They do not look disabled at all, which probably means I messed this up. Oh, no, it doesn't mean anything. It just means I didn't call this to begin with. There we go. And then if you have var enable buttons bool equals, do you need 4 points in automation? Yeah, is equal to 4. All right, and then we set this here. Okay, cool. Hey, Smoo on YouTube. Can add the UI as a child of the camera if you want it in the same spot. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'll write this down too. Thank you. Just gonna collect that monadic bind wisdom over here. All right. So automation level is nil because on ready we don't have it set yet. Oh, how fun. How very fun. So set associated character should probably be in like init or something. Oh, we don't have that because, okay, I see. We don't have that because we do this in ready. So I guess you just can't update the skill tree if this is null. If character data equals null, return. In fact, anything that uses character data, is there anything else that does use it? Nope, just an event-based thing. I like these emotes. I think they're pretty cool. What is this? Planet orange purple ring. Well, it's quite descriptive, that's for sure. Wait, what? How do you type this? How do you type that emote? Where did you get these from? What? Oh, do I have to like do it as a colon or something? Oh, I see. Okay. All right, so these are not disabled still. Oh, because when you set this, you need to update the skill tree. Yeah. There we have it. They're still enabled though. Oh, I just reversed the logic of this. Right, because enabled is not disabled. Disable buttons is if this is less than 4. There we go. And then set disabled to this. All right, so now all these are disabled by default. We still got to allow for their tooltips working. And then when you fully unlock those, you can start getting skills. Yeah. Controls just always use screen coordinates. Interesting. Yeah. Well, we could just convert the whole game to 3D then. Problem solved. Hey, Alfred. So clicking one of these buttons should do something at some point. We need to know which skills are associated with, in which case we should probably just be dynamically creating this whole UI. Just because it's already simple enough. And we'll just add in buttons and we'll know which mods they go to. Eventually, picking a different character needs to populate the skill tree differently. Where is that? Allow for having multiple characters. Yeah. Only move the selected character. Make sure the skill tree always reflects the current character. If you have it open and, well, actually, should it be that way? I think it should. Yeah. If you have it open and select another character, it should update to be the selected characters skill tree. Yeah. I believe you need the world to be in a canvas layer with a layer lower than the UI layer. All right, I'll just write this down for now. I do think this is something I need to eventually work on. Yeah. How am I liking Godot? I like it. I think there's some like I started using it in 2020 and I used it for, I'm just going to estimate, like a month. And back then I think there were a lot more rough edges than there are now. So I think it's gotten better. I still don't think it's, I think there's still some oddities with it. But yeah, I think it's good. I haven't used Unity in a very, very long time, so I can't really fully compare now because the last time I really used Unity was like 2015. Um, I might end up using Unity for this game. I'm not totally sure, but we gotta first make sure it's gonna be fun. All right, so what am I doing? Because we don't have these in the game yet. And actually, now that I think about this, I guess they all modify this ability. So we'd probably want the abilities to have the modifiers in them directly. And I haven't thought of how that'll work either. And I don't really have any, yeah, I don't, there's a lot of stuff that's just messed up right now. All right, let's go back to this one for now. So what do we do? Have some way of indicating which skills are required to get to other ones. There is no way of doing this right now. Don't allow clicking a button until the requirements are met. I guess we could do tooltips, and we need to show you how many skill points you have at any given time. Show how many skill points you have at any, or have to invest. Yeah, known user. I think trying it out for yourself is a good idea because it's at least a very, very low barrier to entry. Like it's just one download, it's super fast, and then you launch it and you can just start tinkering around with it. Yeah. Hey, Pressel. How's your OLS going? Yeah, make your own game engine. I think it can make sense to make your own game engine in some cases, but for I think the majority of people, just using one that's off the shelf is good. Like I made my own sort of engine for Botland and I regretted every part of it. I was cobbling together some other pieces, I guess, that already existed. Oh, there were lots of regrets for that. All right, so on hover stuff, is there something like this in Godot already? Godot on hover UI. UI sounds. I know I can just handle mouse entered and show a tooltip, but I don't know if they have something built in for it, in which case I wouldn't want to make my own. Don't get frustrated from nice, 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 nice. Yeah. Yeah, and by the way, that'll happen, right? It's like, it's Friday right now. If you're not feeling it, type one character and you're done. You want a tooltip, you can just set tooltip text. Can I set it to an arbitrary control, or does it have to be text? Because the tooltip I want is going to be something that, but at the very least, would have a lot of text. Where is tooltip? This is a test of multiple lines. All right, but this is one very specific button. It's rallying cries button. I also suspect it won't show if it's disabled. No, it does show. But you have to hover over it for a little bit too long. Yeah, so I want to probably custom control this. So let's just delete this. But that is good to know. All right, so let's do the tooltip at least. How do I want this to work? I guess at first it's just going to be that the skill tree has this. Yeah, probably. Oh, Alfred, thanks for subbing. Wow, that's a very quick time from first chat to sub. Appreciate it. So what is the tooltip? I guess it is a background, a label, no, probably a rich label. Let's just make a tooltip, or what am I doing? Control, and I'll call this tooltip And we'll add a child in here that is a rect. What is it? Color rect? Yeah. Color rect, and then add another child in here, which is a rich text label. Okay, cool. So we're probably going to need to size this based on the rich text label, and perhaps we could just have a background for this. This is a test. Yeah, maybe in theme. Theme override style normal flat. Yeah, you can change the color. Okay, so then fine. I guess we'll just do this. I don't really think a border is needed. Yeah, and now let's delete this thing. And delete this. Okay, so by default, this won't be showing. And we'll only show it when you hover over one of these buttons. Excuse me, which is another reason to dynamically create these buttons, because otherwise it's going to be a mess. So how about for now, we do this in here. Oh, you'd only want to do this in ready, actually. All right, whatever, I'm going to copy paste this for now. And in ready, we'll do this. And for each button, if it's a button, then we're going to add a mouse entered. This is a bad idea, right? Because we need to pass in some kind of parameter here for which button this is. I don't think you can add in flags. What are flags for? See connect flags. I don't want that. Yeah. Or I can make a custom callable that I guess, I don't know, just like has a function argument bound to this. Oh, cool, Alfred. Yeah, thank you. There's also make custom tooltip function. Please let me know if I'm swearing too much. No. This is totally fine, and it's very helpful. Make custom tooltip. I suspect it's still going to be something like a lot of the ways that skill trees work in games. Where's an example? Yeah, this. As soon as you hover over it, you can see the data. And maybe there's a way to control that in Godot. But even with make custom tooltip, it's like I want it to just show up immediately, and I want to control where it shows up probably. Well, at least in terms of it should always be visible on the screen. Yeah, we should edit this. Make sure the tooltip is always visible on the screen. It should reposition itself if it's too big. There's a way to control that. A number in the project settings though, but that would mean it's controlling for everything, right? Tooltip delay. Yeah, I'd want like a per component tooltip delay, because I might eventually have tooltips on buttons, maybe. Like if there's some setting that's confusing and maybe I don't want that to show up immediately. I'm not sure. But I think just coding a tooltip thing myself is probably fine. Let me think about this. What I want to do here. Each one of these buttons, we should know what you hovered over and what ability it represents. I also at some point need to think about how I'm storing this stuff. Eventually I'll offer equipping abilities, yeah. Figure out how we're going to store which skills you've gotten. Technically, all of the mods for a skill are not abilities in themselves. So I think each individual ability class should store how many points you've gotten in each mod. I also need to think about how I'm going to bind this to the UI. Like each button, I guess, needs to know which skill to pull from, and ideally it's just associated with an ID, and then the ID knows how to pull from which ability. Yeah, that sounds easy enough. Okay, let's do that. Yeah. When it comes to binding these values in the UI, I could just have each button know which ability and which mod number it is. I should probably give IDs to mods. Yeah. All right. So the more I think about this, the more I think that we should be dynamically creating this grid so that we can know, for example, that this button is the slash ability mod 1. And then, of course, give it a proper name at some point. It's just called mod 1 right now. And then set up all the event handlers through code. Because, yeah, I don't want to be manually controlling 15 buttons. And this is just for the warrior. We need to make another one of these for the mage, another one for the rogue, and then any passives we add in would need to go somewhere. So dynamically laying that stuff out might be tough. We don't really even need to do that. We could just store all their positions. So I think that's really what the next step of this is. Yeah, so this I'm just going to delete probably. I'm not going to do that. All right, let's take all these things out here and then tab them back. All right, so convert what I've done visually into code so that I can set up proper listeners on each button, proper text, etc. Yeah, it'd just be a nightmare to do it otherwise, I think. Would equipping abilities be done here too? I mean, it could be. Could be this is just how you manage all this stuff. Like here are your abilities and you just have, we could make like a custom radio button thing. No, that wouldn't make sense, would it? I guess there'd just be like checkboxes next to these. So you just click which abilities you want equipped. And at any point you can have 3 selected. And, oh, did I just crash Godot? No, but I can't click this anymore. What? I don't know what I did. I can't click anything over here. Did I change the... Oh, yeah, I did. I changed this. I was trying to select multiple of these. There we go. Yeah. So like you could have 3 of these selected. And if you want to equip Wild Strike, for example, you would need to deselect this so that you equip Wild Strike. But that actually represents an error state because when you don't have this selected, now which is your third ability? And if you get into a battle, how would you pick that? Yeah, I don't know how I would do that then. How was the circle thing called where you click, it appears? Oh, radial menus? Yeah, I think you're just talking about radial menus. I rarely find radial menus to be good. I think the 2 games I can think of that use them heavily were Secret of Mana and The Sims. And in both cases, they felt kind of clunky to me. Although at least with Secret of Mana, there was no mouse, so it was just left and right anyway. So this actually was a better use of space. The weird part was that you couldn't easily tell what you were going to select without like memorizing how the menus worked. So imagine if these were laid out in like a 3x3 grid, you'd always know, oh, equip is, the middle button. So I'm always going to press right and then down to get to that. Monster Hunter has a good one. Monster Hunter radial menu. Oh, for a controller game? For a controller-based game, it might be a little bit better. Yeah. I was thinking mouse and keyboard, where you have other ways of clicking or inputting commands. So I don't think a radial menu usually makes sense. Oh, I know I use Secret of Mana, which is also a controller-based game, but they did it weirdly because they didn't have an analog stick. Blender just calls them pie menus. Yes, so I've got to write this down somewhere. I feel like this should probably happen from here. You make sure you can't equip the same skill multiple times and need to make sure that you always have 3 abilities equipped at all times, or else you may start a battle while the skill tree is open and only have 2 abilities. Even on mouse and keyboard, it's very instinctive. Actually, I think a ton of FPSs have radial menus and they just tend to use them for things like emotes or whatever. What happened here? Other thoughts? I think yeah, there we go. Okay, so I am very hungry. And it's earlier than when I normally get hungry. I can like feel my energy flagging a bit. So, I mean, it's been 3 hours. I only have been streaming for 3 hours at a time. I might do some work off stream. I don't think I'm going to stream for longer, only because I want to relax for a bit. Let's take a look at what's been done so far, because I like at least showing this at the end of a stream. On mouse entered doesn't exist because I did not ever finish writing this. Yeah, so this was never done. I'm just going to delete this whole thing. So we got to the point where you can get into a battle where life bars are working, where you have different abilities. The abilities are actually backed by something. It's auto battling for me, but it's always picking debug attack 2, so it's hitting 2 enemies. And life value should persist between fights. Enemies have their own abilities and respect the cooldowns of them. So yeah. I think once we get the skill tree stuff in the game, I think a couple of things are going to happen. One is that at some point we're going to need to focus on UI, and probably not for the prototype, but it does look like garbage right now. And 2 is I suspect the game design behind this is not totally sound. I like the idea of modifying your abilities. I just don't know if putting points into it is the way to go. Like maybe you just have essentially like 15 different abilities or something, and you're picking between those. I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to write this down as a question after prototyping. Does the skill system make sense? Like, would it be better to have to pick 1 to 3 mods for each ability rather than leveling them up? You can have keybinds for each healing item, but you can also have a keybind for the selected heal item. Oh, interesting. I think radial menus for things you do infrequently isn't too bad. I don't know. I guess I'd have to see it in the game. Maybe I'm just predisposed to disliking radial menus. Yeah, I'm torn on this. Because originally I was thinking, okay, you invest skill points in something, but like, what does that do for a game? Investing skill points. And so one way is it lets you customize your character, and then you can make things more powerful that you want to make more powerful. And then 2 is, I think in a lot of games it usually has this impact of like you can't easily re-customize that. Like you'd have to re-specialize, and a lot of more modern games are allowing you to just re-specialize on the fly. But older games where that was like a costly action or not even possible. And yeah, it forces you to like pick which type of character you want to make. I think skill trees are important for games where you want each individual character class to be unique. But in single player games, maybe they're not as important. Maybe I want to redesign this even before we've prototyped it. I'm not sure. What's fun about the skill system in like Diablo might be helpful as a way to guide your design. Yeah, so when I think about it in Diablo, I think like you are not the same as every other character. So if you're playing a paladin and 10 other people are playing paladins, you might have similar builds, but they're probably not exactly the same. But if you were playing Diablo and it was a single player game, like why not let the player get kind of all the different skills at some point? Yeah. Yeah. I want to think about that some more. I'll probably write that down for myself. Skill tree from a design perspective. How do I want it to work? Oh, hey, Fox. Just want to say I think it's really good to watch you work toward an exciting goal like this. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I know. I appreciate it. It's always good to have people working. Vampire Survivor has an okay skill system. Vampire Survivor, is at least when I played it, I would say it was like an item system. Although I guess you could call it a skill system, but you'd have something like, I don't know what they called it, but like holy water, and you could choose to upgrade this. But it was based on random choices that you got. Am I thinking about this correctly? Vampire Survivors skill choice. Like when you leveled up, you got 3 choices or something, right? And rarely you get 4 choices. Yeah, this. Yeah. So I like this system for Vampire Survivors. And I think this was really important given that Vampire Survivors was essentially like one game mode that you'd play out for hours and hours and hours. And so you wanted those modes, you wanted that mode to play out a little differently every time. So maybe this time you never got the whip and that was your favorite item to play with. So you had to try something else. I think for this game, since you're playing one character for a long amount of time, you want that character to grow in ability and in power. How am I envisioning the automation? I think at first it's at least just going to be, it just randomly picks an ability you can use. So pretty much like what you see now, except that right now it's always picking ability number 2. Imagine if every time this blue bar fills up, it's your turn, it picks any of the green buttons. So, you know, sometimes it'd pick 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. And that's it. So you won't have control over like, you know, target the enemy with the lowest life or something. The ability itself might have that built in. It might be like this always hits the enemy with the lowest life. In fact, that's actually an idea I should write down. Something that always targets the enemy with the lowest or highest life. Maybe it does something based on that life value. E.g., always deal 50% damage. Targets the enemy with the highest life. Yeah. You get a choice, and once you hit max level. Yeah. Would you expect players to play Idle Ascendants multiple times? If that were the case, different builds could be fun. I think what I want is to have challenge modes. And I have this written down. So like maybe there could be one where you have to play as certain characters, or I don't know, you have to do something in a certain amount of time. I'm not totally sure how it would work. Lazy for characters, play manually. All enemies are in groups of 9. Yeah, I'm not totally sure how it would look exactly. Do you plan for it to always be random, or will the player be able to automate some strategy? I want it to always be random, and I think the way you're choosing your strategy is in terms of which skills you have equipped. So here we have 5 different skills: slash, sweeping arc, crush, rallying cry, wild strike. When you're targeting a bunch of enemies, you probably want sweeping arc. So you'll equip that, and then you'll wander around a zone. And the zones themselves will have some certain amount of enemies that can spawn. So here we're always spawning 9, but that's not going to be the case in the game. Maybe there's a zone where you're mostly fighting like one rock monster that has like high physical defense. And so in that case, it's like, oh, your mage is probably good against that, so have the mage walk around that zone. But your warrior is probably bad against that, so have it walk around a different zone. So it's going to be a choice of like where you're fighting, which abilities you have equipped, and then how you enhance those abilities. And that last part I haven't fully figured out. Yeah. So I'll put some thought into this, because I just don't love the skill point system here. And I think the other thing too with skill points that makes it really tough is like, how do you balance it? Where's the Diablo one? Yeah, so like here, for example, you put a point into teeth and it says magic damage 2 to 4. When you put 20 points into teeth, you're shooting 21 teeth for, an average of 26 damage or something like that. how do you make sure that that's not more powerful than this skill? Or I don't know. There's just a lot to consider there. And I think as a designer, you have to start doing kind of like, you sort of remove some of the fun to make it easier to design. So you say something like, well, at level 10, you shouldn't be doing more than 5 damage per second. So we'll make the numbers work such that this at level 10 could be the same as this at level 2. I don't know. That sort of thing. Yeah, spreadsheet formulas, yeah, simulations. That's true. And yeah, there is some of that. But when it comes to builds, I guess you could have sort of any set of skills. Enemy weakness to different types of damage. Yeah, that's going to be a thing. Yep. There's a significant amount of determinism in the battle, but enough randomness to make most battles different. Yeah, and so in this case, it's going to be something that's not super obvious, I guess. You see how my character has that much life left right now? Like the bar is not totally full. When I win this battle, I started the next fight with that much life missing. So this is another thing that I think is going to play into your battle strategy, which is like, let's say you're fighting enemy after enemy. You might want heal skills. The way my life is dropping is very, very slow, by the way. It would be a little bit faster in the actual game. But you may want more defensive skills, more healing skills. Maybe you, I don't know, swap off between healing and offensive skills. But that's the point of the prototype. Like maybe we determined through playing this that like, yeah, it's just not that fun. I want to be able to control the battle a little bit more. And maybe what it comes down to is like, maybe you have 6 abilities equipped. And like, there could be lots of different ways we end up doing this where we can solve those problems, but we won't know what the problems actually are until we play it. Make the skills percentage based rather than fixed amounts. So it increase up to a set limit that you define as 100%. Yeah. And that was already kind of the plan, I guess, is like each skill has a way that it increases. And so here, for example, mod 1 was deal more damage with this one, and X%. And you would say like X goes up in increments of 5 up to a maximum of 15 or 20 or something. I think like I said, I think I need to put some more thought into this. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up. So in terms of the prototype, we need the skill trees to be in, and whatever happens with skills and everything like that. We need, what are the other big systems that I haven't done yet? The player-wide skill tree, I'm still torn on whether that's necessary for the game. Yeah, I don't think any other system is like massive. I think this is the last big thing we need to do. Then there's a lot of content, of course, that's going to take a lot of time, but it's not like any individual ability is some massive change. Maybe the buff system is. Yeah, that's probably the last thing we need to do. That's a big enough change as the buff system. But all this progress was made in a week. I mean, it's not a good looking game yet, but it's at least something, and I'm proud of it. And I think it's going to turn out to be fun, but I don't know for sure. So let's go raid somebody. Oh, Godik. Hey, welcome back. Good to see you. And thanks for subbing. Okay, I find myself scrolling more and more as I look through software and game dev to try to find someone whom I have not seen. Friday evening hangout, React complex state management. Okay, let's raid this person. I don't think I've ever seen them before. Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, yeah, let's go raid this person. Thank you all for watching. I'll leave you with Discord. Oh, by the way, this person has mature audiences selected. So if that is something you're sensitive to, please do be careful. I'll be back on Monday, and next week should be mostly game dev stuff and then an interview on Wednesday. So yeah, hope you all have a good weekend. See you later.